Hey, it's been a little while. Hope everyone's been well. I've been having some few little issues here recently with the Jeep. I'll go through them. So the first thing I've noticed that started a few weeks ago is I'd have to cycle the key multiple times to get the Jeep to start. I'm pretty sure it's the fuel pump. So I do have an O2 sensor code, bank 1 sensor 1. I don't know if that pertains to the heater being faulty or if it's because of the fuel pump going bad and the Jeep running lean, but I guess we will see. But other than that, I'm fairly confident that I'm having an issue with the fuel pump. My symptoms started a while ago. I'd have to prime it every morning, or actually every time I'd go to start it, really, so I'd have to cycle the key a few times. And that's usually due to your fuel pressure regulator. There's a check valve in there that stops working, but I'm gonna get more into that in another video. Then more recently, first thing in the morning, I would notice the Jeep would stumble after running for about 30 seconds, and then it would clear up. And this morning, it was basically stumbling my whole 10-minute ride to work. I was going pretty slow, and there's a pretty decent hill that I'd have to travel upwards, and I was getting quite nervous towards the top of that. So anyway, I ordered the fuel pump, waiting for it to come in. But while I'm waiting for it to come in to my local AutoZone, I'm going to start pulling out the one that I have. So I'll show you how to do that. Now, normally, in order to do a fuel pump, you have to drop your fuel tank. But due to the fact that my Jeep is not exactly what you would call mint condition, and the various jobs that I've had to do with the evap system and the fuel tank prior, I decided a while ago to cut a hole inside, so makes doing this a lot easier. And so I will show you how I access my fuel door cutout. So first thing is remove anything you have in your trunk. I have my Alien sunshade, which I do like very much. I was going to make a video soon, just a quick one, about putting it on and off and what it looks like with it on. It does definitely help. And of course, my little AutoZone special subwoofer, which is more than enough for this little Jeep. All right, next thing is we got to fold the seat forward. So make sure your seat belts are out of the seat. And depending on your year, your seat will tumble in a different manner. Since this is an earlier body, I have that little link right there. Fold it down and then lift it up. Let me just get these seat belts out. So now that we got the carpet lifted up, you can see the door. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. That will also be another video. But as you can see, it avoids the seat belts. And I have an old license plate for one of my trucks used to just kind of hold it in place. And other than that, I've never noticed it was there once I did it. So let me open that up and then we'll get to the good part. Alrighty, so now we're in. And you can see there's the fuel pump right there. So what I always like to do is every time I come in here, there's always some kind of new dirt. So before I take that out, I'm going to get my dry vac. And I'm going to clean up any dust and dirt so that when I take that off, nothing gets in the tank. So it's very important to clean this up. Like I said, the least amount of contaminants you get into your gas tank, the better. Especially because you're going to be really bumping it and moving it around pretty good to get this out of here, especially if it hasn't been opened up in a while. Alright, so now that that's cleaned up, now I will say this too, you want to keep this on standby, because as you loosen up the ring here around the pump, you're going to notice that you're going to drop some more stuff. So like I said, definitely keep the dry vac on standby. Alright, now next thing I like to do is the electrical connection. Might have to do this from under the Jeep, I don't remember. Okay. Alright, so that was not a one-handed operation, but it's free, it's very easy. Okay, so we'll pull that power connector up. If it would come up, okay. Now, the last thing we got to do before we're ready to take it out is get the fuel line off. Right here is a little black clip. They can be sometimes a pain. A lot of times they break. If you do break it, you can easily get replacing ones. Dorman makes a variety pack of them. Can't hurt to have, because there's all different sizes used on this. The way I usually get these out is I take a little flathead, I kind of work it in there. I haven't really found a whole lot better of a way to do it. Maybe there's a special tool that I'm missing. I like to get the one side free and then maybe try to get it to come out a little bit, and there we go. And then you just kind of pop it free. The clip looks just like that. So like I said, they're you can replace them if you break it, so don't be afraid. It's pretty easy to replace. Then, as long as you've dropped your fuel pressure, now in my case, since the check valve, which is in this piece right here, is busted, I'm pretty sure by now all my fuel pressure is as relieved as it's going to be. In the case that yours is not, what you want to do is, now that you have your pump disconnected, I would go in and give it a crank or two. That will pull any last bit of fuel out of the fuel line, and it'll also relieve the pressure. Look, no matter what, you're probably gonna spill a little bit of gas. It's hard to do this job without it, but the less you can spill, the better, right? So let me pop this line off and we'll see where we're at. And yep, just as I expected, nothing. So that just goes to show me that I'm on the right track here fixing this thing. Now for the fun part. There's also, like with every other job, there's probably a tool to do this right. For me, I have found I usually just get a pry bar of some sort and a hammer if I have to, and I'm going to tap on this. I'm sure there's some kind of spanner wrench you can get, but I don't have it. So right now I'm just going to use one of these bad boys and see if it should take care of it. No problem. Alright, now I use this end up against one of the nubs on the ring there, and this end flat with my hand so that I don't hurt myself. And you should be able to hit it, and now it'll start spinning. So now in my case, it looks like it's still pretty free, because like I said, I just had it off not that long ago. So I'm going to do this a few more times, and then I should be able to go the rest of the way by hand. Yep. All right. Now that that's free, I'm going to leave it just like that, because I don't have the new part yet, and I don't want the gas tank sitting open. So this is where I will leave you for the moment, and I will be back as soon as I have my new part. Alright, so I just got back from the auto parts store. Picked up this nice Delphi unit from AutoZone. It's a good price, and got half the price of the OEM Bosch one. It seemed to have pretty good reviews. Everything looks like it's here. Little cap on the fuel input. The plug looks correct, 4 pins flat, and everything else appears to be there. You always got to be careful with the fuel level. There, you don't want to bend that or break it. So we'll get this rubber band off of here. We got to get this plastic off. So definitely want to be careful with that. You don't want to bend that. Another thing too is check and make sure the strainer is on nice and tight. So this one, I thought it was a little loose, but it seems to be in there as tight as it can go. It looks like it just moves around, so that's okay. And just go over it, inspect it, make sure everything looks good. I mean, this thing is brand new, so it shouldn't hopefully have any problems. Now, another thing that's important is this gasket here, and you're actually going to want to take this off. So, because you're going to install that on the tank first. So when you slip that gasket off, make sure you do so carefully. Alright, so now that we have the new pump, it's time to actually lift the old one out. I didn't lift it out before because I didn't want to leave the tank open. So take this ring, move it out of the way. You're going to need to reuse that. Now you can see at the top there, this is a lip of the gasket that's on there. Since we have a new one, we're going to replace it. So that should, hypothetically, just pop right out. Now let's try to get this out without getting too much fuel on our hands. Alright, so it slips out pretty easily. Now, you're going to want to put this somewhere out of the way. Maybe on top of a trash can lid, because it's actually totally full of fuel, if you can see inside of there. Alright, so once you're ready to put the new one back in, now that we have that out, you want to put the gasket on first. So the gasket's going to go inside of this opening here, and it has a lip on the top so it won't go all the way in, but make sure that it is even and properly positioned, or else when you put the pump back on, it won't sit in there flat, and you will actually get fuel leaking out of this when you go to fill it up. And you're more than welcome to ask me how I know that. Now you'll notice on the top of any pump there should be an arrow, and that's the forward facing arrow. So that's the orientation which you want to mount it. Now when you slip this new one in, watch the power cord, and you're going to kind of slide it in so that you don't knock the level sender, and then drop it in until it hits the bottom. Now, so make sure the gasket's still seated properly, which right now it is not. Alright, so the gasket's back on. Now that it's placed in position, push down against the springs that are inside of the sending unit itself until it's nice and flush and tight in there. The gasket's going to kind of hold it in place while you get it in your final position. Now I would get the ring down here, the plastic ring. Watch out for the output, and you should be able to put this, thread this on, I mean, by hand. Now, so you definitely don't want to force it. It should go on nice and easy. So I got it on by hand as much as I could, using a little leverage now to help finish it the rest of the way. Now, I basically got to give it a good couple shoves, make sure it's not coming back out or going to leak on you. But that should be good. I mean, you know, now that that's back on, we're going to hook the fuel line back up. Alright, so all you got to do, slip the fuel line over. Now this top part here, the regulator, that will move around a little bit, which should be totally normal. So once you slip that back on, we need to get our plastic clip again. Now you can see inside of the thing, see how there's a step here. Now the step should be facing towards the fuel line, not towards you. You can see inside of where this goes in. Actually, I'll show you that there's a landing at the top that it sits on, so it goes in one way. And if the fuel line is pushed all the way in, which it should be, it should just clip right in, and that won't come off until you take it out. Now the last thing is, obviously, got to hook the electrical connector back up, and then we are ready to test it. So I'll be right back. Alright, so now that we've put the pump in, we have to prime it to start it up. So it's pretty easy. All you got to do is you got to cycle the key a few times. Now if you've had a dying fuel pump and you've had to do this already, this is nothing new for you, but hopefully this will be the last time. So cycle the key a couple times. I can hear the pump priming since I have my little door open. Start it up, and it sounds just like it should. Now I always go to the back every time I do this, and I always check for fuel leaks. Now since I have the advantage that I'm on top of it, I can just look right at it. If you do not have a hole in your floor, then just crawl under. I would crawl underneath. Just keep an eye. Just look for anything dripping. Make sure you don't smell any gas. You know, there should be really no excuse for smelling any gas in this whatsoever. Give the Jeep a bit of gas. Revs up nicely. So yeah, I'm gonna let it idle here for a little while. Make sure everything's good so I don't get stuck on my way to work tomorrow. And we'll call it a day. Appreciate everyone checking this out. Hopefully this helps. Let me know if you have any questions or comments or concerns. If you want some more information on how I did this fuel door here, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. It's nothing fancy. This is an older Jeep. I do a lot of work to it, so I don't care as much about little things like this. If this was in much better shape, or if it was somebody else's, I would never dream of doing something like this. I would just drop the tank. But like I said, I've found myself back here enough times to warrant cutting a hole here, and here I am again. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed, and I enjoyed bringing you along with me for this quick little fix. Let me know if you have any other questions or comments or concerns. I'd be more than happy to help. So, hope everyone has a good day, and I'll see you soon.